Hey everyone. All right, so let's talk about standard form versus vertex form. This is lesson 6, unit 8, lesson 6. You can see it right here. The top of your page, you should have it on there. And so let's just get right to it. Okay, so for vertex form, you should have y equals a, open parentheses, x minus h squared plus k. Now, if you're talking about function notation, it would be f of x instead of y. Remember, that's our fancy way of saying y. Standard form would be, let's see, y equals ax squared plus bx plus c. And again, if you're talking about function notation, instead of y, you would put an f of x because, again, that's our fancy way of saying y. Now, what are they good for? All right, so vertex form is good for, first of all, finding the vertex. And we kind of did that in the last lesson and we didn't even know it. When we were translating some things, if you'll notice, this would be our C and this was our D. We were translating things up or down, left and right. We were finding the vertex, y'all. It's good for finding the axis of symmetry. All right, and then finding translations. If you want to know how something is translated from the parent function, you can look at the vertex form, and it will help you find that. Excuse me. All right, so standard form, that is good for factoring. All right, so let's do some of these problems. We have 5 problems here, and it won't take us long to do these. So we're just going to tackle them one at a time. The first one, of course, is number 1. These are the same types of problems that you will see on the EOC. That's the Algebra 1, and of course, that's the STAR test. And so just kind of take a look at these so that you're kind of aware of what they're going to look like, okay? So say you have this graph and they have a point right here, 3, 2. That looks like the vertex, right? That goes through the point, -1, -2. Okay, so it says using the graph from above, what is the equation of the parabola in vertex form? So we know that the vertex is HK, right? So HK is going to be that. So if you look at vertex form, that means my H is going to be, this should be x minus 3, right? If we're going by the vertex form, I'm looking at it up there, in parentheses, squared, and then k would be just plus 2, right? All right. All right, now, I'm not real sure if it's going to be a -4 or a -1/4, right? Because we can eliminate this one and this one, right? Okay, so that looks a little bit wider, so we know that if it's wider, it should be C, but you know what? We're going to graph it just to be safe, all right? So on our calculator, we're going to graph y equals a negative control divide 1/4. Always graph and check. No, I mean, really, it's not going to hurt anything. You have plenty of time to do this, as long as you don't just sit there and sleep. You have plenty of time during the test to take care of this. All right, x minus 3 squared, and then plus 2. All right, and hit enter. Man, you know what? That looks just like that graph. If you did did control T, you would see that it goes through the point -1, -2, right there. I just went up to the table and saw that, -1, -2. All right, so pretty good, right? Okay, so we know that the answer is definitely C. All right, next problem. We're doing some test-taking strategies too while we're here, right? All right. All right, so now we want to know, oh, you know what? We have this one on the graph already. This one, next question, wants to know what is the equation of the parabola in standard form. So they want to know, okay, what is that one that we just graphed? What is this one in standard form? Well, you know what? All we have to do is graph and match. So we already have this graph, so let's hit tab. And we're going to graph these one at a time. So we're going to do a negative, control divide, because we need this over, sorry. We need a fraction, right? Going down, negative 1 over 4, 1 over 4. Keep doing that. 1 over 4. Go to the right. We have an x squared. Golly. X squared plus control divide. I know that line is there. We're just ignoring it. 3 over 2 x, and then plus 1 over 4. So we'll do control divide again. Once we get all of this in here, that line's going to go away. And I hit enter, and there's that. Okay, so we know it's not that one, right? Okay, so we're going to click, make sure that we have it all entered, right? Plus 3 over 2x plus 1/4. Okay, so, maybe let's try the one with the minus 3 over 2. Here, let's hit tab. And let's arrow up. Let's change this plus 3 over 2 to a minus 3 over 2 and see what happens. Well, we know it's not that one, so let's mark out the ones that we have graphed so far. So far we've graphed this one is not it, and this one is not it. Let's graph the one above that one. So if we hit tab and arrow up, okay, so we know I had a negative 1/4 x squared plus 3x squared. Let's do plus 3x squared, and then it was minus 1/4. So let's change this plus 1/4 to a minus 1/4. We found it. Had I just gone to the second one, we would have found it. You know what? We graphed and matched. All right. So that's pretty easy, right? That's a good test-taking strategy right there. If you're unsure, that's a lot of fractions, and I know you don't like fractions, and that's okay. All right, so number 3, a quadratic function has a vertex of -1, -5, and goes through the point 3, 3. What is the equation in vertex form? Okay, so first of all, we know that a vertex form is y equals a times x minus h squared plus k, right? All right, so if this was my vertex, -1 would be my h, right? So it would be x minus a negative makes this a plus, right? H, excuse me, a 1. I need to erase that. Okay, plus 1 squared, and then minus 5, because that's a plus k, so that'd be minus 5, right? So let's see what we can find here. So I don't know what a is just yet, but we can figure that out here in a minute. So I know I can eliminate this one, and I can eliminate this one. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to graph B and then D, and then I'm going to check and see which one of those goes through the point 3, 3. All right, that's my strategy here. All right, so let's do Control Doc, add a graph page. Let's graph this. Do Control Divide. Let's see, that was a -1 over 2, open parentheses, x minus 1 over squared plus 5. Let's see what happens there. All right, there's that. So let's see if it goes through the point 3, 3. And we do that by doing Control T. We'll look at the table. Oh, you know what? Look, there's 3, 3 right there. It goes through that point. All right, so we know B goes through that point. I don't think D is going to go through there. We can double check it if we want to. So I'll hit tab, arrow up. That was just a positive 1/2, right? Oh, what happened? Oh gosh, I must have gotten rid of it, huh? Oh no, I didn't. Okay, it was a positive 1/2. Right, so obviously it doesn't go through the 3, 3 because it flipped up the other way, right? All right, so we'll move that back down. All right, so number 4, so we did good on that one, right? All right, so number 4, we have a quadratic function that passes through the point 2, -16, and has a vertex at 6, 0. What is the equation in vertex form? Okay, so we have this one right here. Well, the only one is in vertex form, so it has to be in the form of a times x minus h squared plus k, right? Has to be in that form. It can't be in this form, so it doesn't want it in standard form. This is standard form, so it has to be one of these. Well, the only one that has a vertex of 6, 0 is going to be this one right here, right? Because 6 is your h. K is your y, is your 0, right? So the only answer it can be is B. All right. So you can graph that and double check it, but we will just go ahead and do it. We have time. Control Doc, add graphs. We're going to graph a negative, open parentheses, x minus 6. Let's square that. Oh gosh, and there we go. It has a vertex of 6, 0, passes through the point 2, -16. Let's look at that. There's 2, -16 right there. Okay, in our graph, in our table. All right. All right, let's move on to number 5. It says a quadratic has a vertex at 2, -8 and goes through the point 6, 0. Okay. What is the equation in standard form? All right, so it wants it in standard form. We are not concerned about vertex form, right? So it just wants it in standard form. So what we're going to do is we're going to graph each one of these, okay, and see which one works, okay? So I want you to grab it and see what you come up with. I'm going to pause the video and you tell me, okay? Okay, so I have the function over on the right. So see, my vertex is at 2, -8, and this one goes through the point 6, 0. And I'm fixing to reveal which one of these it is. As soon as I do Control T, it will reveal it on the page, and it was 1/2 x squared minus 2x minus 6. It was A, y'all. All right. All right. So those are some test-taking strategies, and I hope that you remember to use those because they are very beneficial to you. You can use them from this point on, not just in Algebra 1, but for almost every multiple choice math test that you take. All right, so we're going to have one more lesson, and I want you to be excited about that. Okay, so I'll see you on the next one.